My name is Lonnie Ray Atkinson, and this is another installment of Unsafe. I recently found out that when an extraordinary mass shooting happens, people panic and gun sales actually go up. And when a school shooting happens, it's like through the roof. Now, the way I found out about this phenomenon is because a few years ago I put some savings in a mutual fund, and turns out a good portion of that mutual fund was anchored in gun stocks when that theme park shooting happened. And of course, nowadays it seems like this kind of thing could happen at any moment. So, fingers crossed. You know what I'm saying. Papa needs some new rims. Now, to the average person, that's a pretty crass joke. But to the average gun manufacturer, that's not a joke at all. That's the morning prayer. And in a climate of daily mass shootings, the gun manufacturers discovered that the only way to ensure Congress would not infringe upon their rights to assemble literally obscene profits was to make guns a religion. An evangelical church whose sacred texts are handed down by the NRA. A church whose sole mission is turning as many firearm fans as possible into firearm fanatics. To turn the average gun owner into a gun fundamentalist. Or as I like to call them, Gundamentalists. And just like any fundamentalist ideology, Gundamentalism relies on two main factors: fear and fantasy. Now, the funny thing about the fear aspect is that Gundamentalists are the same people who just love to make fun of parents who require that their kids wear helmets while riding their bikes. And yet you motherfuckers are the equivalent of wearing a life jacket on an escalator. I mean, what the fuck do you think a gun is but a helmet you beat somebody over the head with? Statistically, your child has a higher chance of getting killed or injured by the pavement than by an intruder in the home, and yet somehow the helmet wearers are the pussies. You suburban commando fuckers are scared to go to Target without packing an elephant gun. Where do you think you live? See you Dad Juarez? I just want one time to see one of those softy liberal helmet providing parents walk up to one of these badasses open carrying in a CVS and say, "Yeah, I remember back in my day, we didn't have to wear guns when we were shopping for Pop-Tarts and Athlete's Foot cream. Must be the pussification of America." Seriously, you ever see these open carry dudes running around? I seen this little dude in a Walmart the other day toting a gun so big it had him leaning. This motherfucker thought he was Dirty Harry, y'all. And he's walking around the store with his hand on the fucking gun, old Western style. Like there's some banditos in the next aisle, hiding behind the Burt's Bees display. And I just wanted to go over and give him a hug. Say, "Bless your heart, Shorty Harry, bless your heart. You're scared, aren't you? Well, don't you worry about that gun, because as long as you're in this Walmart, I'll protect you." Oh, I know, I'm the asshole because I can take my daughter into a Build-A-Bear without a one-shooter strapped to my ankle and not shit my pants. It's no reason to hate, it's a gift I didn't ask for. Yeah, but you don't know if there's a motherfucker in that Build-A-Bear with a gun. Yes, I do. It's you, motherfucker. Now, some of y'all might think that it would be awful to live with the mindset that anytime you leave the house, you might have to take someone's life. But not everyone thinks that's awful. In fact, some people think it's awesome. There's a reason why that scene in Taxi Driver with Travis Bickle talking to himself in the mirror is so popular. And it ain't just because Bobby De Niro's six-pack was on fucking fire. It's because it resonated with people. Now, I'm not saying it resonates with everybody. I'm just saying there's a reason why that end times apocalypse shit is so big. There's a scary number of motherfuckers out there who long for that magic moment when they can shoot another human being without any consequences. This shit is a real fantasy to some people. And even worse, because a lot of these Gundamentalists are also biblical literalists, they don't necessarily have a problem in principle with mass murder. They may not say that shit around the water cooler at work, but they're not having a panic attack every time they crack open the Old Testament either. The fucked up thing is when you don't know someone is a Gundamentalist and you find that shit out. Because once you find it out, you can't unfind it out. Now, I know this because I used to work with this dude named Terry Wayne. And it wasn't until it was too late that I found out that Terry Wayne's gun safe was his fridge. And then when it came to the possibility of having to, quote, chop down a motherfucker's whole family tree if it comes down to it, unquote, let's just say Terry Wayne was DTF. And the reason why I bring this up is because I want to offer you a little friendly advice. If you ever go over someone's house and their DVD collection consists of Death Wish, Death Wish 2, Death Wish 3, and special edition Blu-ray version of Death Wish, Death Wish 2, and Death Wish 3, whatever you do, don't say, "Damn, dog, you a vigilante, ain't you?" Because that's what I said. Little did I know, I had just bought my ticket into witness protection. Because that motherfucker started telling me all the shit about himself that I never wanted to hear. And in a situation like that, there's a moment when you realize that you know too much. And then you realize that they just realized that you know too much. And the only thing you can do in that moment is look that person square in the eyes and say, right on. And then you watch Death Wish 3 again until that motherfucker passes out and you can get the fuck out of there. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. Here we go with this liberal commie wanting to take away our guns. See, I'm not trying to take away your guns. I'm just saying if you want to make a case for guns in a nation that has had more domestic gun deaths than war deaths, you gots to come correct. That's all I'm saying. Now, I will be honest with you. I have no love for guns. In fact, I couldn't give a shit if there weren't any guns. But because we have about as much a chance of getting rid of guns in this country as there being a gun rapture, the question is about what kinds of compromises we can make in terms of sensible gun regulation in order to prevent the kinds of tragedies we're seeing on a daily basis from happening. Now, there's a lot of ideas about the best way to institute gun control. I personally think we should do what Switzerland did and lock up all the ammunition. Not necessarily because I'm anti-ammunition, I just prefer to pistol whip a motherfucker. I mean, anyone can shoot somebody in the heat of an argument, but the years of skill and dedication it takes to learn how to properly pistol whip a motherfucker, well, it's really a lost art. It's kind of like bow hunting in the city. But here's the thing. We're not talking about locking up the ammunition. We're not even talking about better background checks. We're not talking about anything. Rather than argue with the statistics of 30,000 gun deaths a year versus countries with 30, gun lobbyists have bribed politicians into defunding even the studying of gun deaths. That's right. The same people who won't even quote the entire Second Amendment have reduced the First Amendment to campaign contributions. Now, that doesn't mean that the Gundamentalists don't put forth arguments. It just means that any logic that can't fit on a bumper sticker is considered gratuitous. That's how you end up with gems like, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Did you hear that? Guns don't kill people, people kill people. Which is a bit like saying, don't hate the game, hate the player. I'm actually shocked that guns don't kill people, people kill people ever gained that much traction, because it's fairly obvious the argument only makes sense if, like Switzerland, you take the bullets out of the equation. Because without the bullets, a gun is just a functionless object, like a rock. And it is absolutely accurate to say rocks don't kill people, people kill people by bludgeoning them with rocks. Similarly, I can't really argue with the claim that guns don't pistol whip people, people pistol whip people. Partly because it's true, and partly because I love to pistol whip a motherfucker. However, when you say guns don't kill people, people kill people, you miss the point that when you add bullets back into the equation, guns have a specific purpose, a specific function, that being a weapon. So the argument so-and-so object doesn't kill people, people kill people, only works if the object in question serves either no function, like a rock, or it serves an entirely different function than that of a weapon. For instance, I recently had an individual tell me, well, you could also kill someone with a stapler. Should we also get rid of staplers? But see, that misses the point, that the stapler has a different function, that being that of a weapon. And secondly, what kind of sick mind thinks about killing someone with a stapler? Definitely don't give that person a gun. Likewise, the other argument that people also die in plane crashes, but you wouldn't ban all planes, misses the point as well. Obviously, crashing is not the plane's primary function. If you were serious about using the plane analogy, you would have said, planes don't fly people around in the air, people fly people around in the air. But of course, no one makes that argument because they understand what the primary function of the plane is. You have to consider the primary function of the object. And unless you regularly use your Glock to open boxes and spread mayo on your ham sandwich, you have to acknowledge that a gun is first and foremost a weapon. The next most popular pro-gun pearl of wisdom is, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, which at least acknowledges how lethal guns are, yet assumes that the person making this statement is a good guy. It's basically another way of saying, we're just good apples who refuse to give up our razor blades. Because remember, razor blades don't kill people, apples with razor blades kill people. Now my question is, couldn't you just as easily say the only thing that can stop a good guy with a gun is a bad guy with a gun? I mean, what if the bad guy is really, really good with a gun? Of course, their response would be that if everyone would just carry a gun, the good guys would outnumber the bad guys. Which, aside from the possibility that paranoia and rushed judgment are going to provide us with a whole lot of lethal good guy circle jerks, you have to address the problem that if there's going to be all these people running around with guns, how am I supposed to tell the good guys with guns apart from the bad guys with the guns? I mean, is there a dean's list for gun owners? If I see you brandishing a weapon that could end my life, can I ask to see your report card? If you walk into a movie theater with an assault rifle, am I allowed to request your letters of reference? If I spot someone running toward the playground where my children are swinging and that person's carrying an AR-15, should I call 911 immediately or should I wait to see if they're wearing penny loafers? I don't know. I do know you can't base it on looks. Sure, Hollywood would have us all believe that the good guys are always handsome. But I've been to Comic-Con and there were a lot of good guys there. And they were not always handsome. I mean, it would be a lot easier if everyone would just wear uniforms. Hey, it's not a bad idea. Instead of gun control, why not pass a law requiring all good guys to wear something signifying that they're the good guys? I don't know, maybe a white 10-gallon cowboy hat. In fact, fuck all that federal background shit. Just give gun dealers a checklist. Okay, no Hitler mustache, no lazy eye, no bloody shoe prints behind you, no maniacal giggling while petting a small animal. Well, sir, looks like you are a law-abiding citizen. Now, how many of those armor-piercing bullets did you say you wanted again? Now, some people might laugh at the idea of a checklist, but is it really that funny when you consider that the cop shot a black man, John Crawford, in a Walmart in a matter of seconds for handling a BB gun they sold in the store and that he picked up off the shelf? Yet I watched Shorty Harry stroll around the children's department with a .357 Magnum on his hip, no problemo. Now you may say, Lonnie, that's an unfair comparison and race has no place in this discussion. And I would say, you're white. And if I may quote Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that, My point in bringing up the comparison is that if we're supposed to be able, for our own safety and well-being, to distinguish between the good guys with the guns and the bad guys with the guns, how are we supposed to make that crucial distinction if we don't all share the same criteria? Seriously, y'all, what is the definition of a bad guy? Because I'm not sure if I know any bad guys, but I know a whole lot of pieces of shit. And guess what? They all have guns. And I know for a fact that not one of them would ever say, "Oh yeah, I'm a real piece of shit. You should have never given me a gun." Instead, they all believe they're the good guys with the guns. Because let's be honest, who in the fuck thinks they're a bad guy? Hell, actual criminals who used guns in their crimes don't think they're bad guys. See, when you say the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, it creates this image of the bad guys as being stereotypical villains who are out there constantly committing crimes. It implies that everyone who commits a mass shooting already had a warrant out for their arrest. It also implies that the good guys are always going to be the good guys. It's easy to believe that if every law-abiding citizen carried a gun, the criminals wouldn't stand a chance. Except everyone's law-abiding until they put a cap in somebody's shit. See, I had a buddy who owned a gun and never committed a crime in his life. Until he did. And it's no exaggeration to say that everyone that knew this guy considered him to be a good guy. And then he lost it over a girl and gunned down the dude she was seeing in cold blood. And that's the problem with your argument, because a whole lot of bad guys with a gun used to be good guys with a gun right up until they weren't anymore. Again, I thought he was a genuine good guy. So when it comes to strangers with guns, I don't know what to believe. I don't know how the argument makes sense because I don't know whether you're a good apple or a bad apple. All I know is that you refuse to give up your razor blades. Now, I could keep going down the long list of bizarre talking points put forth by the NRA, but to make a horror story short, this is what it really boils down to. The problem with the gun control debate is not that there are good guys with guns and bad guys with guns, it's that there are gun owners and there are Gundamentalists. The average gun owner supports a good deal of the measures that people who don't own guns support, while the Gundamentalists support you shutting your fucking burrito hole about why I'm carrying an assault rifle in a Chipotle. But goddamn it, it's my constitutional right to bear arms! Yeah, well, it's your constitutional right to stuff your pants full of toilet paper. That doesn't mean you're not compensating for something. I know that Jesus gave you that amendment and all, but just try and calm the fuck down. I'm pretty sure that spot next to your zipper isn't camo, it's pre-cum. And if the Shorty Harrys of the world won't calm down, I think it's time the average gun owner step up and call out the Gundamentalists for what they are. Just like any other fundamentalists. Ultimately dangerous. Because when the extent of your investment in the dialogue over sensible gun regulation is guns don't kill people, people kill people, you're literally not too far off from arguing that anthrax doesn't kill people, people kill people. And if that sounds too far-fetched, keep in mind that any writer or editor who wants to keep their job at a firearms magazine within the United States can't as much as hint at the suggestion that there can be any lines drawn between military arms and what your 72-year-old grandmother should be able to buy out of someone's trunk and then keep legally unlocked in the foster home she runs. And why? Because there's really only one guns don't kill people meme that's honest, and that is, guns don't kill people. Gun manufacturers kill our democracy. If you dig what I'm doing and you would like to help me keep on doing it, you got two options. You can share this video with others or click below the video to show me some love. Either one is greatly appreciated.